Alright, so the goal of this playthrough is to get to you relatively strong, relatively quickly. I'm also going to be going through just about all of the areas that I can go through. I'm by no means doing a complete run, I'm by no means getting every item in the game, but I am attempting to show the vast majority of the game. With that said, the reason for me doing this video is mostly because there's plenty of speedrun videos and there's plenty of first playthrough videos that are out there, but I haven't really seen anyone make a stab at doing a sort of guide for a new player or anyone who's stuck and just not really sure where to go, what to do, or if they've perhaps missed something. Right now I'm just doing the obligatory face changes, customize the guy a bit, make him look decent, I suppose. I don't spend too much time doing this, but it is fun to mess around with it, especially with the tattoos, because you can do some pretty funny stuff with them. I usually make my guys old and fat, but in this case, I figured I would go with just an old guy. Since I usually don't wear helmets, I figured people would appreciate a normal looking guy. That looks about right. Almost forgot the most important part. I really wasn't sure if I would do a knight or a cleric to start out with. Cleric is the usual class that almost everyone will pick, just because it starts with the mace, which is just a phenomenal weapon, which you can use for the entire game, at least for new game. But in the end I decided to go with a knight, and the reason for that is mostly because of where his dexterity and strength start out. I like having the health, I like having the adaptability is a little helpful. And here we are about to attack the hippo and get the stone ring. A lot of people say the stone ring is pretty horrible, but I mean, I'm not sure if I agree with them. I think especially if you're using a blunt weapon like the mace in particular, it'll help stun bosses a little quicker, which can be quite useful, especially on fights like the Sentinels. can see, once you get his dodges correct, it's really not that big of a deal. Very simple, just like any other hippo. Stay behind it, let it sit down, and just cheese the fight like that. If you're gonna fight a hippo, highly recommend cheesing it. Alright. I know a lot of you don't really want to see me go through the tutorial areas, but I figured I would. Just to sort of finalize that I am doing a mostly full run. I do want to unlock the birds as well. Just show people. That depth perception not existing. Nearly missed that. Because I'm recording this, it makes the game quite laggy for me. And due to that, it's very likely that missing jumps that I should have easily made might become a theme. Because if I hit the jump button, like I normally would just softly do it, and that doesn't always pick it up when I'm recording. So I do miss jumps. I've noticed this when I stream, and I can tell just from doing a local recording instead of streaming that it's going to be the same way. Perhaps even worse. Oh, and here's a pro tip if you're doing a no bonfire run. I don't know if they've patched this or not, but if you don't light the Things Betwixt bonfire and you don't light the Majula bonfire, then every homeward bone you do will just bring you to the beginning of Things Betwixt, where you start when you first made the when you essentially first started the game. You haven't even gone to the witch's hut to do the character creation. You're just on that round pedestal thing. So that is an extremely easy way to cheese that. And if you are doing that run, you can still light bonfires, you just can't sit at them. So you can light one so you'll spawn there and die. But obviously if you sit at it, then there's a problem.
See, there's one. So, is that hit to see how it...
If I'm making a new character, I usually don't bother getting all of the Estus flasks. I'll get somewhere between 8 and 10 on the first run through, and then the next one, I'll just finish it up since you can only have a maximum of 12. So don't really be surprised if I'm doing the vast majority of this without bothering to get all the Estus flasks, or if I just completely avoid going into an area that has an Estus flask in it. Maybe at the end I'll go through again and pick up some of the stuff I run past, but a lot of them I just don't think are really worth getting. They're not worth the hassle, especially because once you get to a certain point of the game, you barely even need a heal anymore. You just play the game, and you're dodging or parrying or blocking and just generally not taking very much damage. I do always do Heidi's Tower of Flame first. The reason for that is Dragon Rider is one of the simplest bosses in the game. With that said, there's a cheese to make him just fall off the ledge, and I wish I could say that I could do that regularly, but that's not the case. Unfortunately, I do mess that up a lot. We'll see if it goes well. Hopefully it does. But either way, I really won't have an issue killing him if I do have to just straight up kill him. I wanted to do this for a couple of reasons. First of all, just to show people that are new to the game that in almost every area you can completely bypass the enemies. If you know the path already, you can just run. And even here, there are shortcuts that I'm not actually taking. Like, you can jump down to where this chest is from above there. But I'm not going to try that jump, especially not when I'm recording, because I would likely miss it. There is usually a summon for this boss, and for whatever reason, sometimes the summon sign will be there for me. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I'm going to try to make them fall off. This is roughly what you do. Like I said, I have not mastered the process. But I mean, just starting out with this weapon, I'm doing 90 damage every hit, 100 damage sometimes. It's really not a difficult fight to just straight out do. And I do want new players to sort of get used to dodging, which I feel like starting the guide out with, essentially starting out with a boss will kind of force people, if they're going to follow it strictly, to get used to it. Because dodging is probably the most integral part of Dark Souls. More so than any other mechanic I can think of. So I really feel the best way to make someone get used to it is to throw them into a boss fight right in the beginning. Especially one like this that you can just easily run to. As everyone's watched, you can just bypass the enemies, so even if you're dying to this, it's really not that big of a deal. You also don't even have very many souls to worry about, so who really cares if you die?
But
So in this game, there's a theme of exhausting people's talking dialogues.
The gods
For multiple reasons. A lot of the times, if it's an NPC that you find out somewhere in a level, the reason will be to move them into Majula and they will become a vendor. If they aren't already considered a vendor. What I plan to do here is to get the bridge down immediately and get the Ring of Binding. Ring of Binding is probably the most important ring for a new player to get, because if you're gonna be dying a lot and you're gonna be hollow, then you really want as much health as you can have while hollow. So the Ring of Binding helps with that, because instead of losing 50% of your health, you only lose 25%. And unfortunately, I didn't kill him fast enough, and these guys are here. I'm gonna try to pull the lever. No, not gonna let me. Alright, it's not that big of a deal. Just gotta get him a little further away. I'll pull him back here, and then I'll just make a run for the lever and pull it and get away from these guys. I do make use of Homeward Bones quite frequently. Sort of just to save time. I mean, obviously that's what everyone uses Homeward Bones for, but there are other uses. I'm pretty sure you can use them in boss fights. If you know you're gonna die and you don't wanna throw on the ring. There's a ring that you can get at some point in the game that'll break, but it'll nullify the death. So you keep your souls, which can come in handy. But I mean, who really wants to gimp themselves by putting a ring on or going through the boss fight using the ring in the first place when you could just Homeward Bone out if you think you're gonna die? As people who have played the game, or at least done Heidi's, know that there's at least 2 items I didn't pick up there yet, and I will be going back to get them. It's just, while I'm here, I'm gonna get the bonfire for No Man's Wharf. These knights I will be killing. Because there's items that I want here. I'm not really going to use them, but might as well have them. As you can see, you can dodge enemies without actually having to roll. I know when I first started playing Dark Souls 1, and even when I first started playing Dark Souls 2, I was rolling to avoid just about every attack. But as you become more familiar with their attack patterns, you'll find that you can, in fact, just run around enemies. Which is convenient since you're not wasting stamina. And, you know, it just lets you attack more. Now, I always forget where the items are down here. For some reason, I keep thinking that down that hallway there's a chest. And I know down here there isn't a chest down this initial hallway, but I just can't remember for some reason. I always check. If there's one thing this guide will have, it is probably going to be me messing things up and forgetting the order of things. I'm not the best player in the world. I'd consider myself mediocre at best. But I do think I'm good enough to do this. But of course it's a whole liner. Alright. up here is the Knight set, I believe, which is not a bad set for a new guy to the game to throw on. Regardless of your class, it'll give you some armor. Is there a chest? No, this is just a door. See? Goddamn. I can't help it, I can't remember. But speaking of armor, let's change mine. I would like to stay under 30%, just so I'm running as quickly as possible. There we go. That works. See my muscular old man back. Okay, and here's a good time to mention that if there is an NPC summon for a boss fight, then I will use it. Mostly just to show people that they exist, because sometimes people just miss them, they don't even know. But from now on, if there's an NPC summon, I will use it. With that said, I will not summon an actual player, because actual players can make the game far too easy. And what's the point of me doing a playthrough with someone else helping me if I'm trying to help a new player who might not even be online? You know? Okay, at this point we're gonna go into the forest. I want to unlock the blacksmith as soon as I can, because he actually sells a mace, and that is going to be the weapon I use. That's the weapon we're going to upgrade all the way to 10 until we can get a different weapon that I don't know if I would consider it 100% better than the mace, because it will be slower, but it has its uses, I'll say that. And thank God I made that jump. I'm telling everyone right now, I'm going to be missing jumps. It's just inevitable. If I'm streaming and laggy, I'm gonna mess up and miss jumps. Since this is the beginning area, I don't know what commentary you'd even want me to put on it. It's just pretty straightforward. Run around, kill the guys. I'm trying to do a parry right now, but I'm not the best parrier in the world, so just trying to make him shoot again. I was going to get a backstab on him, but you know, sometimes I mess up. You can see what I was doing there. I was just simply running away to let the stamina regen so I could get the attacks in that I wanted to do. I'm going to be doing that all of the time. It's just another thing that new players don't always do, and you should do it. You should absolutely do it, because it's going to save you, and it's going to let you, go into fights more prepared and continue fights and have better odds of living or at least not getting hurt. The way arrow tracking works in this game is whatever direction you're running is the direction they're going to shoot the arrow. So if you pretty much stop running and just walk, then it's almost foolproof that the arrow will miss if you just go forward, wait until they shoot, and then turn around a bit. Or do like a circle movement. Almost guaranteed for the arrow to miss. So if you're struggling with archers, then by all means just do that. That'll save you some frustration. As you can see, I did not kill the Heidi Knight. Quite frankly, I just don't see the point. I'm not going to be going Faith, so I really am not going to get much benefit from using his sword, because his sword has innate lightning damage, which can scale with Faith, and it can become very good. In fact, it pretty much starts out very good. But I'm not going to be doing that, so with that said, I just don't care about killing the Heidi Knights. If you want to kill them, then by all means. I really don't care, I'm just not going to show myself. As we saw before, there's sleeping enemies. These continue throughout this level, and there are like, I think 2 or 3 other levels with sleeping enemies, but it's really not a common thing in the game. So, if for whatever reason you don't notice them, or they always get up and attack you while you're attacking someone else, then don't really worry about it. It's just this beginning area, for the large part, that has them. I don't know why I attacked again. One of the things in this game that wasn't exactly present in the other one is item durability. It existed in Dark Souls 1, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. In this one, they really ramped it up, so it's quite easy to break your items if you're not careful. The good part is if you rest at a bonfire, assuming the item hasn't broken, it'll repair. So there are many times when I will be resting at a bonfire to just simply to repair the weapon. Because no one wants to run through the game and then break a weapon and then have to switch what they're doing. Okay, so we got the blacksmith key, and we also got the Pharaoh's Lockstone. That is because later in this area, there is a spot to use it. And I figured since I can get that here, instead of coming back later and doing it, I might as well just do it now. Use a shield. I use shields purely for parrying. I really don't block. So, for the vast majority of the game, I will probably be two-handing and just purely using shield to do this. Parry an attack, switch back to two-hand, and hit him. And I'm looking for a firebomb, and I realize I don't have one, which is upsetting.